All right. Thank you so much for that introduction. It's always cool to be like introduced into something that makes me feel like very warm and special and tingly inside. So thank you so much for that. Awesome. So I definitely hope you've been having a really good time, all of you, here at the virtual marathon. It's my first session of today, so let's just dive right in, and I hope it's going to be an awesome experience. So my session today about becoming a road warrior with Microsoft Teams Mobile. I kind of thought about the topic a few months ago, and then of course we all know what happened. So maybe becoming a road warrior is not really what we want to be anymore. Maybe we should change that into becoming a work from home warrior, because even when you're just working from home, there's definitely a lot of value in working with Microsoft Teams Mobile. So let's dive in. So first of all, this virtual marathon is brought to you by the collaboration conference, the Microsoft 365 collaboration conference. So it's no longer SharePoint conference, it's now the collaboration conference, which I think is brilliant, because today we're talking about Microsoft Teams. It's no longer has to be a SharePoint conference. It also can include Teams and other things. So it's a collaboration conference, better name, absolutely. Also, thanks to all the sponsors. It's like with all the other events, like the in-person events, these things would not happen if we wouldn't have these sponsors here. And I'm so happy to see a few of these sponsors that I know and that I love and that I work with. And it's brilliant to see that they're on top of all these things, even these virtual events, because we need these people as well. Also, do that raffle thing. Go visit the vendors' booths, watch the videos there, submit your answers. You need at least 5 answers to submit submit for a chance to win one. And also I have to say, I've got one from myself. So if you think that you can beat me in Beat Saber or whatever, just add me on Quest at Marijn Somers. Add me as a friend, and let's see who has the best Beat Saber capability. So yeah, I challenge you for that. Also, in these times of need, we need more help as well. So also our healthcare needs more help. So please consider donating to United Way or the International Medical Corps. Also, 10% of the funds from the sponsors also go into these community relief solutions. So please think about this. I'm definitely going to do that later on as well. So yeah, do it. So then let me introduce myself. My name is Marijn Somers. It's a hard name to pronounce, I know. Everybody has issues with it. Just Marijn, don't worry about it. You can call me Martin, you can call me Martin, you can call me Hey You. I will just listen to that as well. So don't worry about my name. I'm from Belgium. I've got a daughter. I'm doing lots of weird stuff. Mostly, I like to do weird stuff. I've been doing SharePoint for over 14 years now. So it's a really long time, and I just still love it. I just still love working with technology. I've been an MVP for over a year now, so that's super fun as well. Then, my own company, My 365 Coach, is where I do a lot of productivity coaching. So where I help organizations work in a better way, work more productive, work more easily, streamline their processes, and to see where technology can actually help them reduce costs or improve profits. Also with my friend Steve Dolby, who I will be co-presenting two sessions later on. We have Office 365 Distilled, which is a podcast. You can find that on your iTunes, on your Spotify, on your wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find it there. And it's a podcast where Steve and me talk 15 minutes around user adoption, around governance, around technology, Office 365, of course. And then we always end with a whiskey tasting, with a single malt whiskey tasting. Some people say that we should do the single malt tasting before we talk about technology, because that would be interesting, but I don't don't think it's a good idea anyway. So, but yeah, please feel free to check that out. We're having a lot of good times with that as well. And then with my man Jussi Mori, also have this session called Blame the End User. It's on YouTube. It's a series where we invite guests as well, and then we talk at how we can blame all our user adoption issues to our end users. It's not our problem. It's the end user's fault. So they need to solve this, but we don't really succeed very well in doing that. So it turns out that it is our problem anyway. So, well, anyway, cool. So that's that. As I said, I'm doing 4 sessions today. This is my first one, becoming a road warrior. In 2 hours, I'm having a session with Jussi Mori around blame the end user, how we can unscrew up your user adoption. And tonight, I've got 2 sessions with Steve Dalby in our podcast style on how to work together with the business to have roles and responsibilities in search, how to set up search, how to think about search. And we also talk about Project Cortex, how to get that into the business, how to prepare your business, how to think about organizing that when it comes out later on. So for this session, all about Teams Mobile, I've got my mobile here ready, so I'm going to present a lot of things just on my mobile. I'll just present it on my screen. We're going to do 5 big things here. First, we're going to just look at what is Teams Mobile, how does it work, how does it feel like if you have never worked with Teams Mobile before. This is definitely a good one to check out. Then a second one, we're going to look at how to keep in touch while you're working from home. So if you're not into the organization, onto the shop floor, how can you still connect with everyone? Then we're also going to take a deeper look at how really to do the Teams collaboration within Teams Mobile. We're going to take a look at how meetings work as well. And then we're going to do our 9 to 5 with our shifts. We're going to take a little look at what is coming next for Teams Mobile. And there's a tiny bonus as well, a little topic that I think is going to be super cool. That is coming up as well, but we'll see if we got time. If there are lots of questions, we might skip that bonus, but it will definitely be on the slide, so don't worry about that. All right, so Teams is definitely your hub for teamwork, and it is also, when you're working on your mobile phone, it is definitely also capable of doing all these things that you can do with your desktop version. So it allows you to communicate with the rest of your team, with the rest of your organization through your chat, through your channel conversations, through your posts. You can do the videos, you can do the calling. So that all works in your mobile as well. It allows you to collaborate within a project, within your department. You can look at your files, you can look at conversations, you can have all these other tabs that you work with as well. So your planner, your files that you use as a tab, you can all use those within the Teams mobile application. Then you can, of course, customize and you can extend your application just like you can on your desktop version. There are a number of first-party applications that you can use, like for example shifts, but there are also a number of third-party applications that are being developed by organizations all over the world that you can buy, that you can put in use within your organization. And of course, you can have the confidence of working in a secure, good environment, because this is Microsoft, this is still Office 365. All the security rules still apply. So you can definitely be sure that even because you're working on a mobile phone, you might leave it somewhere, you might forget about it, might get stolen, might be whatever. So there are all these Office 365, these Microsoft 365 things that you can still do to protect this data, to protect everything that is on that phone. and to put it in good use. So you're still using that Microsoft 365 cloud, all those capabilities to actually do all these things that you need to do. So without further ado, let's go to our first demo around setting the stage. So let me switch to my mobile phone view. And well, you see I've got, this is just my regular phone. I'm using an Android phone for this. If you're using an iPhone, if you're using an iPad, it might be a little different here and there. The looks might be a little bit different here and there, but the features and the capabilities are 99.9% the same. So don't worry about that. Yeah. So we've got our Teams icon. I just put it on my desktop here. And one of the things that I definitely like, and that is something I learned from Mark Vail, is that when you keep that, if you click on that icon, but you like long press it, you actually have a few extra buttons, and you can use these buttons, the search, calendar, the new chat, and your chats. You can actually hold these as well, and then you can put these somewhere on your screen as well. So these are actually like shortcuts that you can use if you want to use these, and then that will just allows you to, that allows you to just jump into that part of Teams where you really want to be in. So I think that's a brilliant hack that you can use. So let's go into Teams. Let's dive in there. So instead of that left rail navigation in Teams Mobile, so if you never use Teams Mobile, I'm just gonna explain this in 5 minutes time to see what it is. So instead of that left rail navigation that you know and love in the desktop application, here you've got a bottom rail navigation. So you've got your buttons here on the bottom. So it says activity, I've got chat, I've got Teams, calendar, calls. So I can just jump from one to the other, and you will just see I've got my Teams here, I've got all my chats in here, I even have my calendar, I can watch all my calls. But one of the things that you can do in your Teams desktop application is you can add more buttons to that left rail navigation. And you kind of have the same thing here. So in that bottom part, you actually have an application drawer. So you have that more button next to calls. If you click on that more button, it actually opens up that drawer. And there you see a lot of extra capabilities or extra functionalities. So for example, in my organization, we're not using Teams calls, for example, but we are using shifts. So what I can do is I can actually click on that reorder button, and then I can actually say, okay, I want to move shifts up here, and then calls will drop down. And if I save this, I actually changed my bottom navigation. So it now says activity, chat, Teams, calendar, and shifts instead of calls. So this way I can just change that up for myself so I can see how I want to work. And that allows me to, that is just way easier for me. So I can just have everything on the go with one click. So that's super easy to do that. Next to that, I want to just go with you a little bit through some of the important settings. So if I go, maybe you didn't see that. So on the top, I've got that that little menu with the stripes on the top left. If I click that, I actually see my own profile. I can set my status message. I can set my status indicator as well. And then there are a number of things. So one of the things I definitely love about Teams Mobile is the ability to change accounts and change organizations. So if I just go, for example, to another account, so the commission MER, that is a different account, it's a different organization. I just click on it, and within 2 seconds, boom, I'm in that application. I'm in that tenant. I've got everything that I have on that tenant. It's all there. My navigation has changed on the bottom. So it is just super fast. And I love that because I'm a consultant. Let me jump back. Boom, I'm back. as a consultant, I'm always working together with lots of companies, and I'm implementing teams, and I've got so many tenants that I need to be in, so many tenants that I need to look after, and this just allows me to jump back and forth from one to the other, and it at breakneck speed. So I love that. It's brilliant. So what else do we have here? So we've got a number of settings. So let's jump in there. Of course, we've got dark theme. So you've got dark theme on your desktop app as well. There's dark theme on the mobile. It looks awesome. I definitely use that, but because of the demo here, I just switched it back to the normal theme. We've got our notifications, which is definitely cool. You can set up how you want to be notified. Let's take a little look at that a little bit later. Also, data and storage. Because you're using a mobile device, you might not have a big data plan, for example. So if you want to upload images, how do you want to do that? Do you want to have these in low resolution, high resolution, full size, whatever you want? So if you're in a bad network area, if you don't have a big data plan, maybe it's a good idea to switch that to that low resolution. Next to that, you can do some database things here as well. So there are a number of settings that you can do, but definitely notifications is a very important part because you're on your mobile phone. What happens with your mobile phone, or what happens with my mobile phone? I have this thing on me 24/7. Yeah, I'm dealing with a number of customers. I don't want them to call me after 8 o'clock in the evening when I'm lying on my couch, where I'm playing my Beat Saber with my Oculus on my head. I don't want to be disturbed. For my international customers, I don't want them to call me at 3 o'clock at night. So I am definitely working with those quiet hours. So these quiet hours, that actually stops a number of notifications from coming through. Yeah, we'll take a look at which things will come through later on, but I think that is super cool. So definitely these notifications. First thing, do you only want these to be here when you're working on your desktop application or not? So that's something that you can set. And then if we go to the quiet hours, I can set my hourly quiet hours. So I can actually say, from 8 o'clock in the evening until 7 in the morning, I don't want to be disturbed. And actually, it's a really cool way of how to set this. So this is actually, for example, I can just move that to 9:30, for example. So I just love the way how that little control works. It's brilliant. You can also set up quiet days. So here I can, for example, say, okay, Saturday and Sunday, I don't want to be disturbed. Those are my weekend days. I don't want to be disturbed those days. So those are my quiet days as well. Yeah. So super important to have that on. Okay. So let's jump back into the slides. So these were the things that I've just been talking about a little bit. So there are a few gotchas for the quiet hours, and Tony Redmond wrote a really nice blog post about it, and I just got everything from that blog post. So the quiet hours, it is based on your device time. So when I'm traveling and I'm going into a different time zone, my phone switches to that new time zone. My hours will automatically switch based on that time zone, so on that new time zone. So 7 in the evening here, when I'm traveling to the US, will still be 7 in the evening there. So it will look at my time zone, where I'm in at the moment. Also important, it is something that you set per device. So if I've got 2 phones, or if I got an iPad, and if I have a mobile phone, I need to set it on every device. Yeah? Also, it is not working when you're using the app. So when I'm working on my mobile phone, when I'm using the mobile phone app, actually notifications will come through even when my quiet hours are in. Yeah, because I'm just on there, so it knows it's okay to disturb you because you're actually on it. So also very important to know, it's only for Teams. So it doesn't work for Yammer, it doesn't work for SharePoint, doesn't work for WhatsApp, doesn't work for whatever app that you're using. It only works for Teams, so it's important to know that. Also, incoming calls. So if somebody really calls you with Teams, that will still get through. And also important that the urgent notifications. So when I'm writing a new post or when I'm chatting with somebody, I can mark something as priority and I can mark something as urgent. The urgent will send a notification every 2 minutes for the next 20 minutes. That part will still come true. So if somebody really urgently needs me, that notification will still come true. Yeah. All right. Second demo. Let's take a look at when we work from home. What are the things that we can do to still keep in check with everyone else in the organization? So for that, I'm just going to jump back to my other customer. Got a bit of activity going on there. So I can see that there are a number of things in my feed. And what I really like here is that I can just swipe to the left, swipe to the right to actually say, I want this to be unread. So I actually want this. If I hold this, I can mark it as read or mark it as unread so that actually I can see maybe I'm just eating my breakfast, I'm just checking my phone and I'm looking at my feed and going like, oh, I really need to take a better look at this later on. So I can just mark this as unread and then I can take a look at it later. So next to that, we've got our chat. So here I can actually chat with other people. Let me just jump back to my own account here. You see, I'm just switching back and forth all the time, all day long. It's just brilliant how that works. So kudos to the team that implemented this. So for example, I'm talking to Lloyd and I've got a few of these things. One of the things that Carolina Ketukari, if you're watching this, hi, she told me that a brilliant life hack for Teams Mobile, but also for WhatsApp. So what you can do is you can actually, on a message that you received, you can actually swipe that to the right, and that will quote that message so you can answer it while you quote it. So here I can answer that, and then I can actually answer that specific thing that person said. So that's a brilliant functionality. Also, what I like to use a lot when I'm on my mobile, because I've got this tiny keyboard. It doesn't work very well with my fingers. I'm writing different letters all the time, so I'm making mistakes all the time. So if you ever get a text from me, please, yeah, I know I'm writing a lot of wrong letters. But what I really like is that my phone that I'm using, it has a built-in system to actually do speech to text. The only thing is it doesn't work when I'm using this in a presentation. So it works when I'm just using it every day, but when I'm presenting it, it never wants to work. So it's so very funny. But that's how it is. But that is definitely something that I like. If I'm doing something, if I'm walking around, if I'm eating my breakfast, I'm just using this functionality to quickly send a message without any errors in it. So I also just need one hand to do that, so I can still be eating with my other hand and then just doing that with my other hand. So that just works very well. So those are the ways how you can use your activity feed, how you can use your chat functionality, just like the way you can do it in your desktop, but with a few extra functionality. So if we're talking about extra functionalities, we also need to talk a little bit about limitations. So there are a number of things that you can't do with the Teams mobile app. So of course, I'm coming from a SharePoint background, so the first thing that you can't do has to be something SharePoint related, of course. So now in the desktop app, in your files part, you actually see all your files. You can have some really cool conditional formatting applied. You can have some metadata there as well. Those things don't translate into the mobile app. So you don't see those things appear in the mobile app. So you will just, as in the screenshots here, you will just see all your files without all that metadata, without all that conditional formatting applied. Also, when you're sending a new post, there's not really a way to do new announcements. The reply options that you normally have with the desktop are not there either. Also, the cool functionality of posting something into multiple channels is not there as well. But these things kind of make sense, because for the SharePoint things, the file things, you're working with a mobile phone, so you have really limited real estate on your screen. The other two is, if you want to do an announcement post, you'll probably want to write a lot of text, and you want to mark it up, and you want to make it look beautiful. So it doesn't make sense to do that on a phone. It takes more sense to do that on your desktop application. So it makes sense that those features are not there. The background blur is something that is coming. Definitely for iPhone it's coming. I'm not sure about Android. It probably will be coming because I think that is also a really cool functionality. We're using it all day long with our online meetings, together with our desktop backgrounds that we now have. So it's just it would just be cool to have the background blur functionality there as well. So what else? We don't have a meet now functionality. So if you go into a channel, we don't have that button where we can say, okay, start a meeting right now. There are no stickers available. We've got emojis. We don't have the stickers. We can't edit the wiki, but to be honest, I don't have any customers who are using that wiki functionality. If you're using a wiki functionality, please feel free to let me know. If you have a really good use case, or if you say, okay, we're using it for that, please let me know, because I don't really see the point for the wiki at this point anyway. And also the way how it shows you the hidden themes is different. Yeah, we'll take a look at that in a few minutes. But we've got a number of limitations, but we also have a number of extra capabilities, so extra features that we have on the mobile phone that we don't have on the desktop. So number one, the easy and super fast account switching. I love that part. I'm using that all the time. Also voice messages. So if you're just talking to each other, you can just leave a voice message to somebody as well, instead of doing that speech to text. If you really want somebody to listen to your voice while you say something, that is definitely a cool way to do. We've got the quiet hours, which is a lifesaver, because as I said, I have that phone with me 24/7. It's a lifesaver. Also, and you can see that in the screenshot here to the right, the way how the new button versus the reply button, I see so many people making the mistakes in Teams on the desktop that they actually want to reply to something, but they miss and they actually write it as a new post, as a new conversation. So many times people are making mistakes to it. Here in the mobile version, it is definitely a lot better. So you've got that little round purple icon that you can use to create a new post, and you just have your replies in there as well. So it looks so much more different from each other, so people won't make those mistakes anymore. Also, that chat functionality where you can just swipe to quote somebody. Brilliant activity. Also, what I really like is the easy answers. So when somebody sends me a text message, I get this little pop-up notification. So the one that you see here on the center. So if Lloyd sent me, yo, dude, do you see that message? And as that in that little pop-up, I already have a number of pre-formatted answers that I can give. So I can, for example, say, yes, I did. And I just, without typing that whole sentence, I can just click on that button and it just sends that message back. So that saves me so much time as well. Brilliant feature. And of course, best functionality is it's mobile. So I'm walking around, I'm sitting on the train, I'm commuting, I'm doing whatever. I always have all these capabilities with me. I can always do my work. I can always do whatever I need to do. So that is all brilliant stuff. Oh, how are we doing on time? Okay, we still got 20 minutes left. Brilliant. All right. My next demo is, let's really dive into Teams itself. So change to our phone. Let's go back. Let's go into Teams. So how does this look like? So I still have my team. So I've got my HR team, my finance team. We've got a number of projects going on here as well. I can also see which channels are private channels. So for example, that administration channel that you see here, that is definitely a private channel. It's got that little lock next to it. And as you see, when I click and hold a specific channel, I can actually pin that channel just like you can on the desktop version. So I've got my pin channels on top, and I've got the rest of my teams below. Yeah. So you will also see that this will just display the your teams part, not the hidden teams. Hidden teams are really well hidden here. So if you want to see your hidden teams, what you need to do is you have this button here on the bottom that says see all teams. If you click on that one, you actually get a list of all the teams that you are a member of or an owner of. So this is my long list of all the teams that I need to be in. I've got my archive teams as well. So here I can just switch to the ones that I want. And if there are some teams that I also want to display, for example, I don't want to display the end user one, but I do want to display the one on adaptive cards. I can just go back and it's showing now. So this needs a little bit of work from your side. If you don't see a team that you expect to be in, just go to the see your teams, and then you can just grab that team and just jump back in to this one. Yeah. So this is a brilliant functionality. Now, the way how you create a new team, I had to search a little bit before I could find that button first time that I was working with this. So on the top right, you actually have those three buttons. If you click that, you can actually do the management of that Teams collaboration part. So here you can just say, I want to create a new team, team name, the description, the privacy, if it needs to be public or private or discoverable. These are all settings that you can set from here. So definitely super easy how you can do that. So per team, you have all the channels that you can see. You can see your private channels, as we said already. We can pin these channels. And if we jump into the channel, we have our posts part, we've got our files part. But what happens to all the other tabs that I added? So there's this more button. If I click on that more button, I can actually see the extra tabs that are available in my team. So for example, I've got an Excel file here. I can just open up that Excel file. The Excel will open up on my phone reasonably fast. Normally it's working much faster, but anyway. So might be because I'm just presenting. There we go. Yes. So in this way, I can still look at my documents. I can still jump to my files. I can do my planner things, for example. So I can just open up planner from my Teams part. It will open up, and then we've got an error. Oh boy, I hope this is not happening much more. So normally I can just open up my planner. I can just mark the tasks that I've been doing as complete. I can change tasks. I can add new tasks. That all just works super easy. So same thing for my files. I can just see all the files here. I can just open up these files. I can work with them definitely. And then in our post part, as I said, we've got that new conversation button that we can use. And in that new conversation button, I can, of course, just start typing. I can leave a voicemail. So, hello, this is a voicemail. And I can just send that off, and then everybody just hears that voice part. So it's not doing the speech to text. This is actually to leave a voice message to everyone. there are a number of the capabilities that you normally have. So I've got my text book. I can just write a number of text pieces, but there are also a number of other things that I can do. Like, for example, use that priority, use that urgent functionality here. But I can also, for example, use my create a new form, or I can use praise. So, for example, if you haven't been using praise, definitely start doing that, because there are some people that are really optimistic, and I really want to praise Lloyd for being a super optimistic person. And this way, everybody in the team will see that I praised Lloyd for doing something really cool. Yeah. So that's definitely a way to do that. Also, a lot of you have been playing around with your channel notifications. So you see that big bell on the top right, where you can click on to actually say, okay, how do I want to be notified for this channel? Do I want to be notified for all the new messages, or only to the replies to the messages that I've been sending? So this is definitely a good way to drill down on those notifications that you want to receive. Yeah. All right, back to the slides. This fourth meeting is all about doing meetings. So this demo is all about how you can do meetings on your phone. I've been doing a lot of meetings on my phone already, and it's a really good experience for the most part. So let me just dive in and let me say what is something that you might want to pay attention to. Okay, so if we're looking at Teams meetings, we've been doing that on our desktop for a really long time, and it works, and it is brilliant. It also works, and it is also brilliant on our phone. We can create new events, we can join meetings, we can share content, even share content from our phones, share content, share my phone home screen, or share files. That all works. So how does that look like? So I've got my calendar here. I'm not gonna demo this live, because if I'm jumping into another meeting, I might lose this meeting. So I just want to do this with screenshots only, just to be sure that you don't leave me, or that I'm not leaving you behind here. So I've got my calendar, and I've got that big button that I also have to create a new conversation. I also have that here in my Teams meeting part. So I can create a new event, just add a title, add my participants, link it to a channel if I want to, add the hours in there as well. Maybe it needs to be a repeat meeting. These are all settings that I can do, all super simple. Yeah. Also, on the other hand, I can also join a meeting. So you will actually see the team meeting in your calendar will have that join button there. So I just need to click that join button, and I'm already going into that meeting. So just like with the desktop, I always get this pre-meeting screen where I can actually say, okay, do I want to turn on my microphone? Do I want to turn on my video? Do I want to connect Bluetooth wise to one of these Teams meeting room devices? All things that you can do. Try to always jump into a meeting with your microphone off, because if you're commuting or whatever, just don't do that. Just set it off, and then people will not be disturbed when you enter the meeting, so they can just still talk whatever they want to talk about, and then you can just silently enter the room, and then you can join full speed. So you can join them. You've got a number of extra capabilities there, and then you're actually into the meeting. Yeah. Now, the one thing that I hate with these meetings on my mobile phone is the chat functionality. So the chat functionality in a meeting it's awesome. I love that functionality. But when you're in a meeting with, let's say, 100 people, there will be a lot of chats going in. And the problem with your mobile is, because it has that limited screen real estate, you can't see both the chats and the content that is being presented. So there's this button on the top that will bring you to the chat, but you have to make a choice. Do you want to see the chat, or do you want to see the content or the people with the video? So you've got the video as well on there. So you need to make a choice. Do you want to see the chat? Do you want to see the video? Do you want to see the content? And I find myself going back and forth a lot because when I ask a question in the chat, people will reply to that, but I want to switch back to the content. So I'm always switching back and forth to that, and that is not, it's not very useful, I have to say that. But for most of the time when I'm just in a meeting with 4 or 5 people, we're not using the chat at all. It works brilliantly, it works perfect. We don't have that when you're in a big meeting with 100 people. It doesn't work like that anymore. If I'm presenting, I also want to share my content, for example, so I can just go into that extra button there and I want to share something. So then it asks me, okay, what do you want to share? Do you want to just share a photo? Do you want to share a video? Do you want to share PowerPoint? Do you want to share your screen? So I can just do share PowerPoint, for example, and that will bring me to my recent files. So because of Office 365, it will give me a link to my OneDrive. It will give me a link to my Teams file, so I can just see my other latest that I've been working with. I can just open up a file like that, and it is going to presenter mode because I'm presenting this, and I've got my buttons to go back and forth as a slide. Yeah? A brilliant functionality there is definitely when I turn my phone into landscape, I can actually see my slides in a bigger version as well. So that's definitely a much better functionality. Yeah. All right. My last demo still got around 10 minutes left. Okay, that's good. We're right on schedule. So my last demo, I will talk a little bit about shifts. So shifts is a clock in, clock out application for frontline workers. Although with a few customers, we also have been using it for all other kind of shifts that we have. So for example, we've got shifts for our help desk people. So some people are coming in early, some people have to stay late, so that we cover a broad range of hours. And we've been using shifts to do that as well. So a shift is linked to a team. The team owner is the manager and he can set up all the shifts. Everyone else is just a member. They can clock in, clock out, they can request holidays, they can offer their shift for somebody else to take on. It just works very, very seamlessly. So I can actually, when I open up shifts, I can see my shifts. I can see a number of things that I can do, like my requests, my open shifts, shifts that people left open so that I can fulfill them if I want to, or my time clock. When I click on that button on the top right, I actually can go into my team shift, so I can actually see who is together in a shift with me. So I see that Lloyd is in a shift with me, so I can just chat to him and say, okay, are you gonna bring food? Am I gonna bring food? Something like that. So then, when the time comes to start working, I have this big button here. I can just click on that and my clock starts to run. It says I'm on the clock. I clocked in. I can just start doing my work, and at some point I can take a break. So there's a break button as well. I can just push that one, and then I'm on a break. It will also say you're on a break, and I can just have my lunch. I can have my coffee break. I can have whatever I want. And at some point I can just say, okay, I want to start again. So I can just start again. But at some point I also need to finish my shift. So I can clock out. So at some point I can just hit that stop button, and then it brings me to my timesheet. And on my timesheet, I can actually see the hours that I worked and the number of hours or the number of minutes that I've been on the clock as well. So here I can just confirm my timesheet, and then you can just see the timesheet and all the shifts that you've been working. And when you confirm them, they're actually done, they're presented, and that can be an input for your pay system, so that these are the shifts that you worked. So that can all just jump further. You can also request time off, of course, with that plus button. If you go into the request mode, you can just say, I want to request time off. Well, school of my daughter's closed, so I need some time off. I can also say, okay, what type of leave do I want to take? Well, I want to take some parental leave, for example, and then that will go into the right HR bucket of my leave times. My manager needs to approve that. So if he approves, I will see that as being approved as well. And when I can go into my requests, and then I'll just see all my requests that have been approved as well. So super easy functionality. Also super cool when you're working with mobile devices. Maybe you don't want everyone to bring their own mobile device, or maybe you don't want you have a specific device, one of those really rugged devices that you can drop from 10 stories and that will still work. So for those, you can actually use the SMS sign-in. So you just type in your name, it will a number, it will get a text message. You'll just give you the code. You can add the code, and then you're logged in. So super easy functionality as well. So what is next for Teams Mobile? Definitely one of the things that will really help your front-end workers is that walkie-talkie functionality. So it just works like a walkie-talkie. When you're in a store with 10 other people, you can just press a button, say something, and everyone will hear it. So next to these, next to that software, there will also be some hardware available, like these earpieces with a little button, like you see people or security agents, or so they can talk into that. And that will just walkie-talkie to everyone, and it's brilliant functionality. There will also be other hardware available, like these head-mounted devices. So if you're working in a construction site, for example, this is definitely a very cool way to have video, have audio, have the whole Teams experience in there as well. As I said, background blur coming for iOS, not for Android. I've got no idea when it's coming, but it's definitely coming for iOS. Also, the audio quality will be improved a lot. So audio quality that now is not always super nice, but there's a lot of things going to be done. Maybe you've seen the demos with somebody opening a bag of crisps and just start eating crisps, and or just that background that can fade away. So all these things will be coming to your Teams meetings at some point as well. The tag functionality is also a super cool way to talk to people in your organization as well. It actually allows you within a team to define a set of people, for example, my help desk people, or in this case, the on-call oncologist. So then it will see, okay, these people are on the shift right now. And if I send a message to the on-call oncologist or to the help desk person, it will always drive to the right person who is on the shift right now. So that is a super cool functionality. You don't need to send a message to everyone. Not everyone will get that notification, just the person that you actually need to talk to. So brilliant functionality. As a bonus for the last 2 minutes, you've probably seen it already somewhere being demoed, is the Teams Personal and Family. So this is something that I really like. This is the actual Teams functionality that you get in the business. You can also use that for your family at home as well. It will be a different license, so you will need that Microsoft 365 family license or something, but this will give you in your Teams an extra boost. So there are a number of things that you can do. So you can create some groups to plan trips with friends. You can connect with group chats. You can do video calls, of course, but you can also just easily like share photos, share videos. If you create a grocery list, you can just say, okay, my husband or my girlfriend just went to the grocery shop, but I need them to bring one more thing, so I can just add that to my grocery list, and it will automatically appear there. So it's one shared list. Or when I'm at some kind of shop, I see that this is in that this has a discount, so I can bring that and I can mark it off my grocery list so that my partner doesn't have to bring it. for me. So brilliant functionality. I can have my family calendars all into one, so I can just see what would be the best time for game night, for example. I can store important documents and important information there as well. So if my daughter comes in and she wants to know the Wi-Fi password because a friend of hers is coming to play and they both want to do some Minecraft or whatever, they can just go into the app and check the Wi-Fi password. I don't need to write it down somewhere and lose that paper, stuff like that. So super easy things to do. So also the last thing is the location updates. So if I know that my daughter is driving a bicycle from school back home, I can actually see where she is. So if she's still hanging out with friends, I can actually still see if she's around. So that gives me some peace of mind, of course. So all your chat functionalities there, you can all stay on the same page. You can share that location. No longer when I'm driving back, my partner calls me, yeah, where are you? Because I want to start cooking food. They can just see me where I am live. So they actually know where I am and they actually know how far I still need to go. So as a wrap up, Teams Mobile, definitely useful. There are definitely a lot of scenarios, definitely a lot of roles where you can use that. It's got awesome features. It's missing a number of features, but that's okay because you get limited screen real estate. It's okay. There are a number of really cool functionalities, like definitely the quiet hours, the fast tenant switching is there. A lot of really cool things that we just talked about in this demo. There's one thing I didn't show is the integrated office lens functionality, but when you go into a post, you can actually take a picture, and when you take that picture, it will actually open up the office lens functionality. So it actually can recognize a document, for example, or it can recognize something on your screen, and then it will just cut that out, skew that right, and it will actually send that in a proper way so that you can actually see it very well. You can also do some annotations on that. It's a really cool functionality, so definitely use that when you're walking around, you see something. There are some really good use cases where you can use that. Don't do meetings while you're driving, super important. And with that, wash your hands, work from home, and thank you for joining. If there are any questions, I'll.
No.
No questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Using block.
Great job. That was awesome.
Before.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me know if you have anything else here, or we just probably go and end this event.
No, I'm all good.
All right. And if you have any pictures with you, just send across to the chat private so that I can have it as a memory with me.